ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Mitchell Port Unleashed podcast, and this one is a good one. This is gonna be a special treat for everybody here. The man's already smiling. He already knows what time it is. So I had one of his co-hosts on this podcast back at I believe 2020, Otis Swell Fitness. Today, my man Anthony from the Krew Season podcast. What's going on, my man?
Man, what's going on, bro? I appreciate you having me, man.
Listen, man, this is, like I said, a long time coming. We're here. I want to just know, when did this Krew Season thing become a thing?
Be honest, pretty early on. I think it became a podcast or like a way to create content a bit later. But just the Krew Season, just Krew in general. Like again, me and the guys that's on this platform, is four of us. We've been knowing each other since grade school. Me and O longer than that, because that's my actual cousin, blood cousin. So I mean, we've always just been vibing and just kicking it together, man, and going through life and different relationships and all kind of trials and tribulations together. And then, again, at some point in time, it turned into a controlled, recorded podcast or YouTube show or whatever, however people label it, but just got to content creation through natural progression from just friendship.
Mm-hmm. And you guys talk a lot about culture, you know what I mean? A lot about relationships, music, things like that. When you brought these guys together, and I look at the success, there's a lot of success by you guys and the humble approach and the ability and things like that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. What would you say is one of the biggest highlights for y'all? Just to keep going, keep the consistency up and things like that.
I would say the feedback would probably be the the most motivating thing, man. We get DMs and messages from all different types of people, all different types of ages, all different walks of life. That's tell us, hey, man, I appreciate it when y'all said this right here. This helped me through this situation I was going through. Or even older people is like, hey, I've been trying to explain to my son some of the things that y'all are saying, but they don't take it from me. You know what I'm saying? But when they listen to you guys, it kind of sticks more. So I appreciate you guys for that. We've had people write in with, again, all kind of situations. We had somebody that actually was trying to, end it all because they were unhappy with life. And they said, look, man, I appreciate y'all. Y'all made me laugh that day and, put me on some game, gave me some different ideas to try. Not even talking to them directly, but just them listening to our regular conversation on the pod. And, that saved their life. So it's those type of things to where it's like, okay, we are on to something here. We are doing something right. So we got to keep going. So yeah, definitely the feedback for sure.
I love that. We wouldn't be anybody without the audience. You know what I mean? We need the feedback, the listeners, the things like that, and things like that. And what I love about y'all, you guys are in that space of where I talked about relationships and stuff like that. How would you guys feel you're different from those other content creators out there? Because I feel like, and I really want to echo on this, you guys don't talk too crazy on the toxic side. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Some of the conversations do come up and stuff like that, but you have some of these other content creators out there that are a little crazy. They're looking for them viral moments. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I think what separates us for one is that going into this thing, we didn't really have any knowledge of the field or whatever the case may be. But once you start making the content and you start, getting engulfed in this quote unquote manosphere or, YouTube space or just social media space for our age demographic, you start noticing things. And I started noticing a lot of things that you just said in terms of the toxicity. A lot of people giving advice on like how to meet women or how to pull women, or if it's the other way around, how to land your king, land you and I think what makes us different, we feel the lane of, okay, once you actually got that person, how do we maintain an actual healthy relationship? I feel like it's not a lot of content creation based on that aspect. So, going along with it, I just kind of felt like that was our niche. And if you notice, I start kind of tailoring the conversations toward that way. Even the back and forth that we have with women, is still solution based. It's not, okay, I want to come up here, voice my concerns. I don't like y'all for this. Y'all don't like us for that. Okay, y'all stand on y'all point. We stand on ours. We go our separate ways. That's kind of defeating the purpose. I feel like we all know what it is that, grievance-wise that we have against each other. But I think our goal is to kind of mend things. Like we want people to actually be together, right? That's what all of this is for. But yeah, so I feel like that's what kind of separates us, man. We literally give people the game on how to navigate and sustain a long term relationship. Me and Smooth is married. I've been with my lady 14 years. I think he's like a little under that. Kenny's been married before. O was close to marriage. Whatever. So it's like everybody has extensive relationship, experience. And again, nobody's experts or professionals or anything like that, but a lot of our takes are going on just what we see, what we experience, and again, touching base with thousands of people weekly, you kind of just get you always abreast on what's going on, in the streets or whatever, even if you're not actually out there active. And we take all of that, and then we make the takes that we make, and it's going over pretty well, if I say so myself.
Yeah, and I'll tell people this, listeners, like even on my side of things, even and people are going to be seeing this for the first time, check out Crew Season Podcast. Like, it's one of my favorite shows. You know what I mean? Like,
Appreciate you.
it's in my podcast lineup. You know what I mean? I'll create some content around that just to give back to other content creators and things like that. But you guys talk about some powerful things. You know what I mean? And me as a black man here in Canada, it's one thing. And I feel like a lot of I speak of all races also too, and learn something. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not too much about black this, black that, but you got to weigh your options out there. One of the things for me is the shout outs. Well, massive shout out, should I say, by Kevin Samuels, my man. When I saw that, I was like, holy shit, like, y'all
Salute to
really,
the OG, man.
yeah, to get that nod means you guys are here now.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Again, man, salute to the OG, Kevin Samuels. He's actually been tapped in with us for a while, man. I remember when we first really started on like YouTube, really, maybe about a year in or so. He had commented on one of the videos, and he was like, "Hey, man, love what y'all doing. Love the content. Whatever. Keep it up. Keep going. That type of thing." And that was just the first. Again, it was low key or whatever. He just came and was checking us out and just said, "Hey, just show love." And then when we did one of our Battle of the Sexes recently, he had reached out and like, "Hey, man, I want to use this clip for my show. Is it cool?" I said, "Of course, man. Go ahead, do your thing." So, but yeah, so he had, again, he always showed us love, man, and the love is mutual, man. But in terms of us arriving, I think more people are starting to get the eyes on the content. Which is why I think it's so dope that we spread out on so many different platforms. Like, it's a lot of people that may just be on YouTube, just be on Instagram, whatever. But that was another conscious thing. I wanted to make sure that we were everywhere. Our small clips are everywhere. A lot of the full videos on YouTube for anybody that wants to check those out. And, so we've steadily built everything up kind of simultaneously. If one thing goes crazy, it's linked to everything else. So it feeds it. So everything rises type of situation. So, yeah, I mean, it just means that we are doing something right, man, and that we need to keep it up.
Love it, man. I love it. Well, relationships. We here. I do a self-development podcast, Overcoming Adversity. I feel like it all goes hand in hand. We're in 2022. I'm going here. The standards. I don't feel like a lot of people got that standards in relationships, both sides. From your personal experience, you say about 14 years of marriage. The importance of standards. But I want people to listen, please, for the love of Christ. Listen to what this man's about to tell us about standards and the deep dive we're about to have, the dialogue, but the importance of standards in a relationship for 2022.
Man, it's super, super important, man. And I think the first things first, where I feel like a lot of the disconnect is that a lot of people are going into relationships not really knowing who they are or what they want, right? So what happens when you do that is that now I'm depending on this other person to kind of help me find that. And in the process of doing that, right, now there are some people that are willing, but in the process of doing that, we get so caught up on you finding out who you are that we don't have any time left for us or our relationship. And vice versa. Not saying that there's one person coming into it. A lot of times it's both people coming into it that way, right? So now we are spending a lot of time getting over past traumas or past insecurities and things like that, so much so to where we can't even move forward as a couple. And before we are able to move forward, the relationship typically breaks down. So my advice in that type of situation, I feel like people need to really take some time to learn themselves. And what I mean by that is, say if you're in a relationship and it ends, right? Typically, each side is going to pretty much blame the other as to why that went wrong. But if you were moving the right way, then you were doing self analysis, right? And self analysis means, okay, say for instance they cheated on me. True, that cheating may have been the nail in the coffin that kind of ended this thing. But let's look back to maybe it was some red flags that we missed. When at the beginning of this relationship, were they as invested as I was? Were they giving as much effort as I was giving? And a lot of times that type of thing is overlooked because I like this person so much, or I like having sex with them, or whatever. It's fun, so I'm willing to overlook key things that's going to break our relationship down the line, and that's oftentimes what happens. So when you're doing that self analysis, and it's like, okay, yeah, they cheated, and not saying that I was responsible for that, because cheating is that's individual's decision to go do that. It is what it is. But could I have kind of, or could I have missed signs that could have got us here, or that could have saved me from even being in this situation to begin with, if I was moving right and having those standards that you're talking about, that solid moral foundation, non-negotiables? I feel like people need to make a list, literally write out a list of maybe 5 non-negotiables. And if anybody doesn't meet these non-negotiables, they should be removed from your life immediately. Not, oh, okay, they don't meet all of them, but he handsome, so I'm gonna roll the dice anyway. Or she don't meet all of them, but she fine, so I'm gonna roll the dice. Maybe we can fix one of these down the line. That's what people get in trouble at. You know what I'm saying? You got your list of non-negotiables, and then you got your list of things that you'll bend on, right? But the non-negotiable list, that person should have every single one of those things on it, and that goes to the standards. And I feel like once that is done, that'll kind of eliminate a lot of the riffraff, and then that'll whittle you down to maybe 1 or 2 people, and the chances of those relationships being successful are extremely high, more so than you trying to pick from 10 and 8 of them don't really meet the standards that you set for yourself. So yeah, first things first is narrowing down your standards, what it is that I want, what it is that I'm willing to tolerate and not willing to tolerate, and then I enter the relationship. But a lot of people do it the other way around.
You say a lot there, man. Jeez, the 5 non-negotiables, man. I think one of the biggest things that stick out. Sorry, for me, is that we have you have some people that when they in these relationships, they want to bring a lot of this masculine energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Female side. Let's speak a little bit about the masculine energy. Do you think that masculine energy is brought from another relationship? So they kind of have their boundaries up so high they don't know how to kind of level it out. What would you say?
Man, I think it's a multitude of things. I think it is a past relationship, but I also think a lot of times it has to do with their upbringing. And what I mean by that is that, say for instance, she had a mom who wasn't married, or maybe she was dating a bunch of different guys or whatever, and these guys were leaving her, or leaving her high and dry, or toying with her. So as a kid, you're seeing all of that, and it's like, man, I see how miserable that my mom is, because she's depending on these men for her happiness, right? So what that does is, I'm seeing that, and when I grow up, I'm not gonna need no man for nothing. I'm gonna set it up to where any man in my life is gonna be a luxury, but I'm gonna solidify that I'm making a lot of money, like very very high income. I'm gonna have a big house. I'm gonna have a big car, and I don't need a man for any of this. I don't need a man for my relationship. If it doesn't come, I'm cool. If it comes, cool. But it's gonna be skepticism, heavy skepticism involved. I think a lot of times that comes from upbringing, and going back to what you said, past relationships as well. I may have been in a relationship with a guy who I may have depended on a bit too much, and he dropped the ball, or he cheated on me, or he left me high and dry. So now I'm having to start over, and I'm in my head. It's like a situation. I'm gonna never let that happen again. Every man that comes after this, I'm gonna be super skeptical. I'm gonna stick my chest out. I'm gonna make it a point to him that I don't need you here. It's cool to have you here, but I don't need you here. I'm going to remind him of that every single chance I get. And that's that masculinity that you're talking about, whether it's blatantly or whether it's indirectly. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think it stems from a multitude of things, but I would say mainly upbringing. That's what I've noticed. Just in studying women like that. If you ask them how did they grow up, you'll typically get most of the answers that you need from that conversation, if they are honest and forthcoming.
Love you say that. So, alphas in the Simps, that's a big thing. A big thing, man. And right. I feel like it's so deep dive. And what is alpha? What is a simp? Like, let's speak on the alpha side. Women love alphas to a degree. But they don't want you to
Yeah.
be like this toxic masculinity type of alpha. And I feel like a lot of what we hear in the manosphere is very attacking people's self esteem, right?
Hmm.
There's a self esteem thing, like, and a lot of these guys will say, "As oh, you got to talk to them like this. This is how you're gonna pull a chick here. You're gonna pull a chick there." I agree to disagree,
Right.
but I'm a life coach, so I get the whole situation of you're playing on people's feelings. You're playing on people's, the way they are. What's a true alpha in your mind?
Man, a true alpha, I would say, is somebody that's just unapologetically them. Like again, go back to those standards that we spoke about earlier, right? So if I'm single, hypothetically, and I'm out here dating, my non-negotiables are what they are. I'm not bending them for anybody, right? And a lot of times with that type of mindset, you're gonna run into some hard conversations, right? Because women want, time, they want effort or whatever the case may be. But depending on where I'm at in my life, say like right now, I'm trying to build up my brand. So if I'm single, my brand is gonna come first, period. So and I'm gonna tell you that. And if you're willing to deal with it, cool. If you're not, then you're gonna have to move around. But I'm not gonna bend. Like I have plans. I have long term plans. I have structure, and I'm willing to accomplish these goals or uh, fulfill the structures for setting it up over pleasing any woman or anybody for that matter. So that's what I define as somebody that's alpha. It's just being unapologetically who you are, right? Beta simp is somebody that's willing to bend based on who I'm with or based on, okay, well, I got a girlfriend. My girlfriend doesn't like my strategy. Okay, so I'm going to make some adjustments here, or you know what? I'll just take a break from that so I can spend more time with her and I can please her and I can whatever. So it's like, they don't have a solid backbone. They are willing to bend to please people, even if it's at their own detriment in terms of reaching the goals that they have in mind. So I feel like that's what the difference is. A lot of people are tied to, alpha, strong, just masculine, toxic masculinity, just being toxic. Nah, I don't really feel like that's what it is. I feel like those people are just toxic people, right? That's just what they are. But as far as like an alpha, again, I feel like it's just being unapologetically me. I'm gonna accomplish my goals, and I have it set up in my mind to where every piece fits, even you, as far as the woman in my life, right? And if you are not willing to get with my program, then you can remove yourself from me, period. That's the difference.
And that's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of women. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough pill because it's like you can be in a relationship and still focus on the things that matter.
Right.
And I understand it's about balance. It's like when you do the podcast, we're both podcasters. We have our other things that we're looking to build. We're in the building stage. We're still killing it. We're still killing the game. And
Right.
a lot of people don't understand that. Friends may not understand that. Relationships won't understand it. Women won't understand that. The man may not understand that. So it's like
Family
you
too.
gotta exactly. You gotta understand that our time is not to be played with. So if you're gonna ride with us, ride with us. You know what I mean? Be on that ship. Don't bandwagon. Don't hop on the bandwagon. You ain't trying to be like Golden State Warriors out here.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Just build with us and watch us grow because you're gonna reap the rewards from all of this. You know what I mean?
You know what the irony is too? Is
Talk to me.
that those same women, right? They'll come in, run into a guy that's quote unquote alpha or whatever, and their drive and their structure and their them being unapologetic is what attracts her to him, right? But then when you get with him, you'll start demanding changes in terms of who this man is, right? Now, if you are a true alpha, you're not going to change. But if you're a beta or simp, you're going to start bending. You're going to start changing, which simultaneously she's becoming less interested in you because you're not, the same man that she signed up for, right? So a lot of times women will ask for things from you that may not necessarily, benefit y'all's union or be in line with what attracted her to you to begin with. That's why as a man, you got to stick to what your plan is. Now, she may, catch an attitude. She may have a grievance, whatever the case may be. But going back to what you just said, later on down the line, she'll thank you for it. She'll realize why you were doing it. Well, my lifestyle is amazing. My husband is, making a bunch of money. We have a different car, a bunch of cars, kids are taken care of. We have nice family structure. Yeah, we had to go through some hurdles and some humps to get here because he was so steadfast and so stubborn on doing things his way to get there. But now that we here, I'm enjoying the benefits of it, right? Compared to, again, a beta, if I get to bending and you don't reach those goals, she'll start to resent you. Even though, in that moment, she'll have gratitude, not validation or whatever the case may be. I can't think of the word, but you know what I mean. So that immediate gratification, that satisfaction, whatever, by you bending to her, immediate short-sighted needs, but that's gonna hurt you down the line. So it's just interesting. Women are interesting species, but as a man, you cannot bend on what it is that your goals are to please them. That's going backwards, and y'all won't last.
Well said, my man. Well said. So we talk about simps, and this could be a loaded question. I'm loading up the shotgun. Whatever happens, it happens. Social media being the kryptonite in a lot of relationships. I see it in the health and fitness game a lot. A lot of these women, they're working out. There's nothing wrong with it, right? Because I came from that lifestyle. But there's an over-sexualization on social media that's happening with a lot of men and women that are in relationships. Mm-hmm. And the simps are like in DMs juggling, like they trying to be the next circus clown for 2025. I don't know. It is what it is.
Right.
But the biggest thing I look at is it is a kryptonite for social media is a kryptonite for your relationships. Because if you don't know how to balance and the temptation that's continuously out there, right, Anthony? Mm-hmm. How do we solve this? Like, you married. I don't really talk about my relationship status on this podcast and platform because it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You figure it out. It's, I keep my life private on purpose because I have to do that. Mm-hmm. You married and you see this out here. You see this amongst your friend groups, things like that. Not too much about the podcast, guys. How do you navigate so the kryptonite don't filter into the relationship and then it ends?
Man, I think first things first is finding a woman who's not so consumed with social media, that isn't so pressed on the attention or the validation that most people get from it. And that's why I have to salute my wife. And like, honestly speaking, if I wasn't on social media, and we talking about like when we first got together, if I wasn't as heavy as I was on social media back then, she wouldn't be on it at all. She never really had interest in social media, but it was a situation. It's like, okay, we together, you on there, I'm on there, whatever, that type of thing. And, don't get me wrong, like she'll jump on and, watch the little stories or watch what's going on with, and just current events and period. But as far as like, okay, I'm posting something every day. I'm looking at the likes. Okay, that didn't get enough likes. Let me go wear less clothes, or let me go do this, because again, I'm searching for validation. I'm searching for attention. That's not her at all. Like she doesn't care about that. She may post maybe one time every couple months. And that's typically for like holidays or birthdays, something like that. Like that's the extent of her search for validation on that. So I think the first step is finding you a woman like that, or a man like that, right? If somebody that's too caught up in the attention they get from it. Now it's different if that person has a business that's tied to it. That's different. Because again, you gotta study your analytics. We gotta you know how it is. You have a podcast.
Yeah.
So, but if that person's not in that space and they're just on there socially, just to, to get that type of attention, that's probably not somebody that you want to be in a long-term relationship with. If that, if that's not true, because eventually, it's going to seep into the relationship, and how to do it is through the compare contrast thing. That's what I feel like a lot of people in this era suffer from, right? And what I mean by that is, say for instance, you and your man, y'all been together for a while, y'all have y'all way of doing things. It may be low key, whatever the case may be. You're not really big on big expensive bags or just grand gifts or something. But that's y'all thing. That's how y'all move, right? But if one person's on social media a lot, especially Instagram, you'll get to comparing and contrasting. Like, wait a minute, she just got the $10,000 bag and such and such dress and a brand new car, and all you got me was something smart. So it's that type of thing. So now you get to comparing and contrasting, and now y'all relationships start turning towards things that neither one of y'all really value, but you're trying to keep up with the Joneses type of thing. So I think to answer the question, you gotta again, be with somebody that can either one, that's not really interested in it, or number two, they can compartmentalize. And I feel like that's what, like, I'm on the compartmentalized side because I have a business on the platform. Again, it's easy to separate. I can tell what's fraudulent, what's fake, who's doing things for validation, attention seeking, or whatever. So it's like it doesn't go into my head like, okay, he got that, so I gotta go do that. Nah, I'm very familiar with the game. You know what I'm saying? So you got to find you again a person in either one of those two categories, and if you don't, then you're gonna struggle. Social media is gonna seep into the relationship because one thing's for sure, social media is not getting less relevant. I tell you that the more time passes by, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So people are gonna literally live their lives by it. But I think the dope part about our generation, right, is that like we got to taste what it was like before social media got here. That's where we established our foundation at. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to flip that switch back and forth. Social media gets to be too much because that happens to me too sometimes. Like, man, I just been on this too much. I'm about to just take a break, flip that switch, and just go back to regular life for a while, and then come back later on. But like a lot of people was born in this now. Like people that was born in 2000 or 22 now, which lets you know it's like we in a totally different time. So it's like all they know is social media. They was 9 years old when Instagram first came out, or that type of thing. So again, I feel like we got lucky in that regard enough to be able to taste both sides, man. But if you didn't get lucky, you got to find somebody that's not so caught up on outside perception and validation. That's the key.
So true. I feel like it even leads into men, and they may be dating somebody and they feel like they get checked out of the relationship. Mm-hmm. Social media is a big leading contributor of that. Both sides. Let's speak on men. Men getting checked out of a relationship. Let's speak to the ladies here. How do women know that their man is checked out of the relationship? Not really focusing on like necessarily the sex part, because you can hang out with your partner and doesn't mean you're gonna end up smashing or having sex or going to Pound Town. This is how it is. Not all the time it has to happen that way. Be a busier day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. May not live with each other, but men getting checked out of a relationship.
And I would say the main thing would be him breaking his patterns. When you've been with somebody for a while, if you are studying your partner the way that you should be, you'll notice a certain cadence, certain bop, certain rhythm that they move with. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's, him doing small things for you or being super considerate, putting the toilet seat down. He buys flowers for you every Sunday, or you make sure that y'all have y'all date night every Saturday, like that type of thing. And that comes to kind of define y'all's relationship. But when that person leaves that bop, leaves that rhythm, leaves that pattern, he's typically starting to check out. Now, when he's completely checked out, you'll notice a complete disregard for anything as far as consideration, being considerate. Matter of fact, I'm going above and beyond to let you know that I'm not being considerate because I'm trying to push you away from me. Right. But again, you won't notice those things if you're not paying enough attention to that person's patterns. And that goes for both sides. I know men run into this a lot. Like women typically pay close attention to a man's pattern, but a lot of men don't. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's very, very important, man. You need to be studying your partner. That way you'll know something's wrong before they even open their mouth and tell you. So as women, pay attention to that man and listen to what that man says. I think that's a lot of the issue with why men check out is that a lot of men don't feel listened to. We talk and we request certain things, and a lot of women, if they feel like it's trivial, they'll just okay, whatever, and they'll just keep going, or they may entertain it, act like they're listening, and just go back to the same way of living that they was before that. So as a man, if I'm voicing. First off, if a man is voicing something to you, period, in terms of vulnerability or in terms of something that he feels like you're not doing, that's a huge thing. And it needs to be treated as such. Because most men are not going to say nothing. Once you start doing something that we don't like, most men are just going to go to the streets. That's just what it is. So if you got a dude that's actually willing to explain to you, hey, I would appreciate it if you did this more, or I feel like you're not doing this enough, or I don't feel like you're paying enough attention to me. You have a man that's willing to come to you and have that type of hard conversation. It shouldn't be written off as trivial, but a lot of women do. So what that does is, again, as a man, we feel like, okay, I done voiced my concerns. You're not making no moves, so you clearly don't care about how I feel in this situation. So my energy going forward is going to reflect that. meaning that I'm going to make a point to go out. Oh, are we supposed to go out Saturday? Oh yeah, no, that's out. Me and the guys going to the club, or we going to the hookah spot. Okay, well, we supposed to have TV night? No, I ain't doing it. I'm about to go play video games tonight. It's that type of thing. You'll notice a blatant disregard in terms of consideration. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. So about women, when women are checked out, I feel like that's very noticeable. I feel like we can catch that because we're seasoned. You know what I mean, through life. But I feel like some of the millennials, you see them getting these relationship spats, and they're not there. They don't really pay attention because it's so easy. It's like they keep going. It's like a hamster wheel type of situation. Even people that are in our age, in our 30s, things like that, whatever. How do we know when women are checked out? I feel like it's so noticeable. And how can men really just be able to like, yo, my woman, I got to check this. I got to ask her what's going on. You know what I mean?
I feel like with women, you'll know that she's checked out when she loosens that leash up on you all the way. And what I mean by that is when you get into a relationship, women are typically head first, all in, you're the center of my universe type of situation. So she wants to know where you're going. She wants to know who's there. She wants to know how long you're going to be there. If you stay a little later than you're supposed to be, she's blowing your phone up. Hey, where are you at? Is everything okay? It's that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But once a woman checks out, that leash loosens all the way up. Oh, geez, I'm going out with the guy. Oh, okay, go ahead. And you don't hear from her all night. You know what I'm saying? So again, it goes back to the patterns that we was talking about earlier. If, most women typically early in the relationship, they are like, they want to be up under you. They want to be tied to you like glue. Like it literally hurts them for you to leave them regardless. Y'all could have spent all weekend together. And you say, yeah, baby, on Sunday night, I know we done spent Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning together, but Sunday night going out with the guys, they'll still kind of catch an attitude about that. You know what I'm saying? But once she loosens that leash up and just stops caring, and you say, oh, baby, I'm going out. Say, oh, okay, go ahead. And just no text, no calls, no nothing. Like you'll notice it's a certain coldness. She just will move around with a just laissez-faire attitude. Like whatever, okay, whatever. And then you'll notice she'll start going out with her girls more. Again, that's something that she wasn't doing early in the relationship. No, now all of a sudden, the girls want to go out for happy hour now. All of a sudden, right, goes completely against the pattern that she said early. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what I would tell men to pay attention to. Pay attention to the loosening of that leash. Because once she stops arguing, once she stops complaining, once she stops caring, mentally, she gone already, bro.
And you know what the scary thing about it is when you're gone, she on Instagram like this, checking that DM.
Yep.
Oh, wait, let me revisit that conversation. Let me revisit that last text message that was sent 2-3 months ago. Hey, stranger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's very horrifying because I think a lot of people listen to this and they're like, God damn, do I got to start checking my lover now? The person I've been maybe dating for 6 months? You'll know. I've always said is the active checking up with your men and your woman in a relationship. You gotta take that time. How am I showing up for you in this relationship? Now I know the alpha males and the manosphere are gonna be like, you don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be a man in this world. Like,
that's why I disagree. That's why I always go awry. When people be like, oh, are y'all red pill? Like, that's a lot of those red pill guys have that sentiment that you just said. Whereas I don't care what the woman says. I'm a man. I'm going to move this way. Give her my program. That type of thing. But I don't. As far as emotional intelligence, I don't care what the woman's feeling emotionally. I don't care. She's here to serve me. Like that's a lot of what they mindsets are, and that's why I disagree. At again, do we want to be right or do we want to have successful relationships? That's how you got to think of it. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to have a successful relationship, it's going to take those check-ins that you're talking about. I would say weekly, in my opinion, and not just regular conversations. Not just hey, how was your week? No. Like real conversation. Hey, how didn't I show up for you this week? Or if you could name one thing that I could step up in as far as an area, what would it be? Those type of conversations, because that's going to drop her defenses and open up. She going, oh, okay, well. When you stayed out till like 3 on Tuesday, I kind of took offense to that. I feel like you didn't really have to stay out that long. Like those conversations, and then you'll get to unwind it. Because that's one thing about women. Women gonna talk. All you got to do is just open the door for it. She gonna talk. You know what I'm saying? But as a man, we have to actively listen. and not just write it off to white noise. Oh, she's just complaining. Whatever, man. Whatever. I'll just buy her something. You know what I'm saying? Which is what like a lot of men do. But when you actively listening to your woman, then you'll be able to catch those signs that you talking about. You're right. It's gonna be easily noticeable because she's gonna be off rhythm. So yeah, you got to attention to detail is key and checking in.
Yeah, you speak about that red pill, and like I said again, I think like a lot of these dudes that are in that red pill manosphere, they're dealing with low hanging fruit, women that don't have a lot of self esteem, and that's what it all comes down to. And I get it. You have some narcissistic, players that are out there that will simply play off of women's self esteem.
Right.
Before we get out of here, speak on that, like how women can identify the right man, because I feel like they put men all in a box. They may see the high successful man. Oh, he just wants to sleep with me. They may see the simp and, oh, he's just going to show me all this attention. They may see all of these different faces, these different men faces. How can you distinguish to find the best man that's for you? I want you to close this out, my man.
I would say that, like, again, looking for a man that's actually concerned with the little things about you, not necessarily what you can do for him, but he actually pays attention to details about you that may not directly benefit him. Like, he actually cares about what your favorite show is on Bravo that you watch. So I'm going to set the reminder on the TV just so you don't miss it. Or he actually cares that, Valentine's Day is special to you because, back in the day, your pops used to buy you flowers, a certain type of card or whatever. So now I'm going to buy those certain type. Like, it's little things like that. Like, if you have a man that's paying attention to detail about you that he doesn't necessarily benefit from, I feel like that's what separates those type of guys. Again, these red pill alpha guys that you're talking about, they're going to come because honestly, they feel like money is my effort, it's my time, it's my energy. That's all I have to do is bring this check home, and then you should be able to just give me whatever else I want as a result of that. I've done my job. The check is here, whatever. But again, a lot of that is about control. It's about, I don't, they'll say, oh, I don't want my woman working, I'll take care of my woman. Yeah, it's not just because, he loves his woman and he wants her at home relaxing. No, that's not what it is. It's a control thing because I make the money. So I dictate all decisions. You have no leverage to tell me anything because you're not paying for anything, right? So again, it's about noticing the game and you being, confident enough in yourself to where money doesn't make you fold on what your morals are or what is that you really want. Now, if you are a woman out here that just want money and that's just it, then cool, do you. But I feel like most women are not necessarily like that. Most women will bend on a man being rich for a man that's comfortable financially, but he has emotional intelligence and he actually cares about me. I'm not just a pawn on his chessboard kind of situation, which is how a lot of those red pill guys move. But yeah, that would be the main thing, man.
Yeah.
Like, does he pay attention to details about you that he doesn't directly benefit from?
And let's flush that out because I feel like some of the men that might listen to this be like, well, that's not being manly, setting the timer for her favorite TV show and doing this. Like people gotta chill and just realize that there's manly things that we can do, but setting the reminder for her show could help her out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Setting that alarm clock on her phone could be the way to help her out. It's about helping. You know what I mean? And things like that. I don't think that's simp behavior. Some men may say, oh, that's simp. That's a simp. No, it's not a simp. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, bro. And again, I think it all stems from how you look at relationships, right? I look at it like our job is to make each other's lives easier. Like if there's this, if we are in a relationship and like you aren't making any moves in terms of making my life just a bit easier. May not necessarily be nothing big. Just like we talking about setting a DVD reminder. You know what I'm saying? You know that I like the Cowboys, Dallas Cowboys. So you're gonna make sure, I may have to be away or something, but you're gonna make sure that it's recorded, or you gonna watch the game and we'll be able to talk about it when we get home. Why? Because you know that's important for me. And vice versa, you know what I'm saying? But it's just making her life easier. She been working all week, so I'm going to put these clothes in the washer for her because I know that she wanted to get to that Thursday, but she just got caught up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that her schedule stays the way it's supposed to be and she don't get behind. Like that type of thing. But again, it takes paying attention to detail for you to do that. But if I'm just showing up to this relationship like, I got the check, everything else is, whatever. I make more money, I pay all the bills, so, whatever, jump for me or perform for me because I brought the check home. If you have that type of mindset, the relationship is not gonna last.
It's not
Even
gonna
and you
last.
nah, and you know what's crazy is even those shallow women, they'll get tired of that eventually. Why? Because money won't be as important to them anymore because you'll be funding their life. They'll have a new normal as far as money. And that's what a lot of those guys don't realize. Yeah, you dating a woman that's broke, so she's fascinated with money. But when she gets with you and you've bought her every bag she wanted, you've bought her a new car, you put a bunch of money in her pockets to where money isn't an issue no more, then it becomes how compatible are we? And that's where the ball gets dropped. That's where you have women that are married to rich guys, but she having sex with the lawn man and stuff like that because he has time. He has, effort and energy in terms of, reciprocation to give her. Yeah, you out chasing that bag crazy, but he on the phone with her every night, asking her about that TV show that we talking about recording. You know what I'm saying? So again, that has to be a balance. And if there's not a balance, the relationship typically won't last. You'll marry her, she'll get used to that money, and then she'll divorce you, take half of your money, and go be with the lawn man. That's real.
And I'll say this to echo that is a lot of women want that counterpart that can have that dialogue with her. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of men cannot position that because they may not have the skill set because they're kind of like, what do I say to her? They're not. I feel like a lot of men don't know how to really talk and converse with women.
Right.
It goes past buying her drinks. It goes past, trying to like slide in her DM. You gotta come specific. You gotta come with the tools. You gotta have the drill bits. You gotta have the screwdriver. You have the right screwdriver because certain screws can't turn, and you're just gonna drop it. You know what I mean?
All right.
It's even certain nails. You know what I mean, and things like that. So you gotta come with the right ingredients. And if you don't cook up the right ingredients, listen, the pot might just boil over, and then you gotta clean up the mess.
That's real. That's real. You got to come there versatile and willing and ready to adapt because all women are different, and that's another thing. Another mistake that guys make, we feel like, again, just because we used the wrench on the last job, we could bring a wrench to this job. No, the wrench may not be necessary for this job. The hammer might be necessary, or a Phillips screwdriver might be necessary. So you want to bring the full toolbox. You want to be versatile enough to where when I get there, I can see how she is, and I can kind of, okay, we're going to use this set. We're going to do this. We're going to do that type of thing. But you got to be willing to adapt, man. And if you're not willing to adapt, no relationship will survive because that's probably the most important thing. If people don't listen to anything else I say, the most important part of longevity in a relationship is the ability to adapt. Point blank, period. Because one thing is for certain, that person 10 years from now won't be the same person that you're looking at today. They're going to change. There's weight, career, income, confidence, self-esteem, body size. Like all these things are going to happen throughout this relationship. So you got to be willing to adapt and be willing to change and be willing to, again, constantly communicate, constantly check in. Because with those type of things changing, needs change. So, the stuff you was giving them initially might have worked and y'all might have been cool. But again, 10 years from now, 2 kids later, 60 pounds later, 70 pounds later, she may need a little more from you than you were given. And vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So again, the ability to adapt is going to either make or break that relationship. That's real.
Real talk, man. Real talk. Where can everybody check out Krew Season? You already have to type it up in your Googles. But where can everybody check what all the brilliant stuff that y'all are doing, man? 4 positive brothers and just more of the sit-down communication that you guys are doing. I'm looking forward to those more. And I'm going to call you out on this. There needs to be a Canada-Toronto invasion with Krew Season. Let's make that happen. Trust me.
I like it.
Yes,
I like
sir.
it. Yeah, man, for one, bro, I definitely appreciate you, man. As far as where they can find us, on all streaming platforms, man. Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, of course, all of the social medias. We tapped in pretty much TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, pretty much everywhere, man. Like just go to Google and type it in, and with whatever services you use, it's a good chance that we on there. So yeah, look us up, man. Tap in, and again, shout out supporters and everybody that have been riding with us thus far, man. We just getting started, man. Just getting started.
Yeah.
About to open up that live show aspect of this thing a bit more and get to traveling and touching bases in different cities and setting up battle of the sexes in the old city, like all type of things. So it's a lot in store, man. So just tap in with us, man. And if you already rocking, keep rocking with us, bro.
Battle of Sexes in Toronto would be monumental.
I love to see that.
And I believe by the time you guys get to Toronto, there could be some heavy hitters on that show too. You know what I mean?
Man,
crazy. Let's manifest that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because one of the things I always say is we need more Black excellence. We need more Black collaboration. And I'm all for it. And like I said, these guys listening to me, I've been checking these guys out. I've been an avid listener. I'm always, making sure I'm interacting on social media, sending the retweets, giving shout outs, because these guys are needed for the culture and they're necessary. You know what I mean? There's no egos.
I appreciate it.
It's all hustle. It's all gas. You know what I mean? And a couple breaks here and there, but that's just natural with content creation and things like that. So Anthony, man, shout outs to you, shout outs to your team, and much love and peace and prosperity to you, man.
I appreciate you having me, bro. Again, man, it's love always.